Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fandom United. Geo here. This is daily news recap for July 6th, and we have a loaded show, a lot of DC topics, one Marvel topic to discuss as well. But we're going to start with some breaking news. This just happened about less than an hour ago, and it involves our guy, Mr. Zack Snyder. His next movie has been announced. This is an official coming from the Hollywood Reporter, and they're saying Snyder has set his next project, an epic sci-fi fantasy titled Rebel Moon, that he is co-writing and will direct and produce for Netflix, the home of his most recent hit Army of the Dead, and it reteams the filmmaker with many of the creative colleagues from his past original ventures. And some of those names are Shay Hatton, who co-wrote Army of the Dead, and Kurt Johnstad, who co-wrote 300 with Zack Snyder. This report also gives us some story details for Rebel Moon, and they're saying the story is set in motion when a peaceful colony on the edge of the galaxy is threatened by the armies of a tyrannical regent named Balisaurus. Desperate people dispatch a young woman with a mysterious past to seek out warriors from neighboring planets to help them make a stand. So this will be a female-led sci-fi adventure. Zack Snyder is quoted in the article saying, "This is me growing up as an Akira Kurosawa fan and a Star Wars fan," Snyder tells THR. "It's my love of sci-fi and a giant adventure. My hope is that this also becomes a massive IP and a universe that can be built out. I've spent the last 2 or 3 years building out this universe. Every corner has to be painted in. I've been doing designs, constantly drawing, and really cultivating its fertile ground to make this world fully realized." The report from THR says Rebel finds its germs of its origins in a Star Wars pitch the filmmaker had developed a decade ago. And if you recall, Zack Snyder had a meeting with Lucasfilm about Star Wars. Unfortunately, it didn't go anywhere. But when one door closes, another opens. So here we have this sci-fi adventure, Rebel Moon, at Netflix. And in case some of you who are wondering, who have been watching my channel, yes, I did report, well, I didn't report, but I talked about a rumor that Zack Snyder's one of his next projects will be Horse Latitudes, aka The Next Photograph. That project is still very much in the works, but as far as Zack Snyder and his next big epic goes, he's been teasing this for quite some time during interviews with Army of the Dead and for Zack Snyder's Justice League, that he's been working on something that he hasn't quite been able to announce yet. Well, here's the announcement. The sci-fi genre, I mean, while Star Wars is doing its thing on Disney Plus and streaming, as far as the big screen goes, as far as epics go, there's Dune, there's James Cameron's Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5, whether you ask for it or not. And then there's stories like these where Zack Snyder gets to literally create his own world. He's bringing writers from Army of the Dead and 300. I mean, look at my background. All right. Anything Zack Snyder related, I get excited about. You guys let me know your thoughts on this. Now let's transition from Zack Snyder to Warner Brothers and DC. The Suicide Squad is about a month away as of this recording. I am looking forward to it. The last couple of trailers have been more exciting as opposed to that first Red Band trailer. But we have some news regarding whether or not the Suicide Squad is set in the DCEU. And this statement may not exactly clarify things to the level that we hope. But let's talk about it. Peter Safran spoke with Cinema Blend and had this to say about whether it's canon or not. "It's very much a standalone film. I think the Suicide Squad very much is in line with what we did on Aquaman and Shazam, in the sense that the idea was to make a great standalone movie and don't worry about how it fits in any broader universe. That's obviously what we did with Aquaman and Shazam. That's what we're doing here. We're just making a great movie, we hope, but that's the focus. It doesn't have to live within some broader universe automatically. It's something that if you go back, I think James probably said this years ago. He was quoted whenever he was talking about building universes, the Monster University at Universal or this universe, he was always like, just make a good movie. make a good movie, and if it merits being built out into something more than that, then you'll figure out a way to do it. But you don't have to have this preconceived idea of how it all fits together as you make that first movie. So for us, it's very much about just go make one great movie. And he later continues to say, I think each one of these projects do stand alone, but some of them stand alone inside the universe, and some of them stand alone outside the universe. Just that concept of a Superman reference in the Suicide Squad lets you know that there are some version of him inside the universe, or referencing Harley's relationship to Joker inside the universe. And the fact that you've got characters from the previous squad and many new characters, that's at least of this universe of Suicide Squad, but the story itself can easily stand alone. Like I said, not so black and white as is all things when being managed by Warner Brothers. He has a point though. Look, the reason why Aquaman and Shazam, and I've said this before, the reason why those movies are successful and well received is because they stood so far away from the main DCEU. I mean, literally, Aquaman, there was one line where Mera mentions Steppenwolf, and that's it. In Shazam, we see a kid collecting souvenirs from Batman, newspaper clips from Superman, and then even at the very end, the cringiest part of Shazam, we see Superman, but there's no head. I mean, it's literally cut off, and I get that they couldn't secure Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill was busy at the time with Mission Impossible Fallout, and I believe he was just starting with The Witcher. But regardless, those movies were successful because they stood away from the DCEU with little to no reference. And when you do that, the studio executives are off your back. It's for whatever reason, whenever Zack Snyder or David Ayer, or even Patty Jenkins to an extent, they try to create this universe, it's when Warner Brother executives get cold feet and start interfering and then messing things up for everybody, for the filmmakers, for the fans, for me, for you. And so, look, I've said this. I've been on record saying this. Okay, like just make a good movie. I give credit to Warner Brothers. They jumped on getting James Gunn the moment he became available. The moment Marvel prematurely let him go, and they said, "Look, we realize they realized that James Gunn would eventually go back to Marvel, right?" And that's what ultimately happened when the cast made a letter and all signed it saying, "Bring him back." He came back. So you only have so much time with James Gunn to do something, okay? And right now, it's making a good movie. As a DC fan, yes, I am frustrated because I don't know where this fits in. I don't know which Superman Bloodsport shot and put in the ICU, if it was Henry Cavill's, if it's a new Superman, if it's the Black Clark Kent that they're apparently trying to make. What is it? It's very confusing. But when I go and sit in the theater and watch this movie, because I will, just make a good movie, okay? Make a good movie. Make a hit for DC. Even though Warner Brothers may not deserve it, I still love these characters like Harley Quinn, like Rick Flag, like Captain Boomerang, who I think will die early. I have nothing to back that up. Like Amanda Waller. Viola Davis is Amanda Waller. And I'm sure I'm a big fan of Idris Elba. I'm probably going to love Bloodsport. So it's welcome to being a DC fan. Let's just hope for a good movie, okay? Let's hope for a good movie. And we're still fighting to restore the Snyderverse, a lot of us, okay? But that doesn't mean that we can't compartmentalize and root for these filmmakers to make a good movie, okay? We all dislike Warner Brothers, okay? I play this all the time on my videos.
But yeah, second Warner Brothers.
Leave me your thoughts on this matter. If you're a DC fan, how are you feeling about this? Do you feel the same way I do, that you're frustrated about, like, they're afraid to commit. They just want to make good movies, and I understand that. That's a great thing, but at the same time, it's like I'm scratching my head going, what are we doing here? So let me know your thought. Okay, let's stick on the Suicide Squad. The same producer, Peter Safran, was talking this time with comicbook.com and talked about Deadshot, Will Smith's Deadshot. Why is he not in the movie? He was a big part of that first movie. He was a big part of the success. He was a fan favorite character. Why isn't he back? And basically, it comes down to scheduling conflicts, so they say. Here's a quote from Peter Safran. It was certainly a discussion, but I think the Will Smith of it all was really more of a scheduling thing than anything else. We knew we had to start shooting in September because, frankly, we knew probably earlier than other people did that James was going to come back and do Guardians. See, like I said. So it was really important that we started shooting when we started shooting, and Will wasn't available. And that kind of made it easier all around. What are you going to do? He's not available. So it's also nice to, frankly, help separate it from the first movie, I think, in a greater fashion. That's an interesting line there. Help separate it from the first movie. Why would Warner Brothers do that, right? I mean, that movie was a success to them. And the reason is because it's actually not a very good movie as you revisit it time and time again. I said this before. When I first saw Suicide Squad, I was pretty high on it because it was entertaining and fun. But more times I watched it, the things like editing really stuck out. The things like cringy character decisions stuck out. But Will Smith was not one of those as his Deadshot. Now, an argument can be made. Will Smith, whenever he is in a movie, he likes to command the screen, right? And that hurts some of the characters, especially when you're in a movie like The Suicide Squad, where there's all these interesting characters. And I'm sure any filmmaker would love to explore these characters and just what makes them so messed up, so complex. And it's hard to do that when you have a big star like Will Smith in the movie. What makes this even more funny is you realize James Gunn brought Bloodsport into this movie, gave him a daughter, and had Amanda Waller, the character, use the daughter as leverage, which is pretty much what Deadshot was in the first movie. Am I wrong? So it's just, it sounds like scheduling conflicts. I don't know. I mean, was Idris Elba always attached? I don't think so. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below. Do you buy that? Will Smith scheduling conflicts? I don't know. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. Let's stick with DC. And this time, the other producer on the Suicide Squad, Charles Roven, who was also a producer on Man of Steel and I believe Batman v Superman, he talked about the idea, the concept of having multiple versions and not just one character, which is what we've all been used to for the longest time. But with Loki on Disney Plus, with Spider-Man No Way Home, and possibly the Multiverse of Madness, the Flashpoint movie, the Flash movie that's coming up in the DCEU, there's soon going to be this wide introduction, open the floodgates that is the multiverse with all these different versions of the characters. And Charles Roven is a fan of that, specifically with the Superman character. He said, if they're going to go along with the filmmaker's vision, you have to allow for multiple visions. You can't have it any other way. Not everybody's going to think alike. And this graphic couldn't be any more true. You had, obviously, the late Richard Donner, rest in peace, sir, his iconic Clark Kent Superman played by Christopher Reeve. And then you had Bryan Singer, who was a fan of that, pretty much adapted that with Brandon Routh's Superman Returns. And then you had Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan and what they wanted for a modern Superman away from the other previous two versions. Obviously, fans of the first two weren't too happy with the direction of Man of Steel. But nevertheless, in my opinion, you have to keep making these characters, these stories, more refreshing. Let's just say that, okay? Otherwise, people get tired and they get bored of the same thing. And then people start complaining time and time again. Why do you keep making the same thing? Why do you keep playing it safe? Take risks. Be bold with your storytelling. And he's right. There should be multiple versions. We're having it right now. Multiple visions. CW is doing the Superman and Lois, which I'm a fan of. And you know, all of you out there know how much I love Henry Cavill's Superman, okay? There he is right there. But I love the CW Superman and Lois. And I also love Henry Cavill's Superman. You could be a fan of both. You don't have to be Team A or Team B. That's what this channel is all about. Fandom United, bringing geek culture together. Okay? You don't have to be Team this or Team that. And if I'm Warner Brothers, I'm embracing the multiverse. And while they may appear to be doing so, we haven't heard a damn thing about Henry Cavill's Superman, okay? Henry Cavill as Superman, however you feel about BVS, Man of Steel, he is not the problem. He is actually very good, great as Clark Kent Superman. And I've heard a lot of people say about Zack Snyder's Justice League, the third act, when Superman finally appears in the black suit, they liked it. They liked it, and they went back and revisited Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. They saw the character arc from those movies all the way until Zack Snyder's Justice League, and they're like, that wasn't bad. That's not bad. Now that we finally see the full picture, not the studio meddled version that Warner Brothers puts out because they care more about the run times and making money and doing a story going from point A to point B in the fastest time possible. That's why I am so open to Henry Cavill as Superman on HBO Max. More creative freedom, more storytelling. Would I love to see him on the big screen? Absolutely. I hope that Shazam 2 and Black Adam lead to an eventual showdown and Henry Cavill's Superman is involved somehow. He's a great actor. Use him. Use him, Warner Brothers, please. Let me know your thoughts, guys. What do you think? Am I crazy, or should Warner Brothers embrace the multiverse fully? Give us different versions of characters, something that everybody can like, something for everyone. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. And finally, we're going to move to our Marvel topic. This is a quick update right here. This is a rumor. According to the Direct, She-Hulk is going to be breaking the fourth wall constantly throughout the series. According to their report, the character, Jennifer Walters, will acknowledge that she's a character within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay, I have to see it executed. I brought this rumor up because when I read it, it immediately reminded me of House of Cards and just how well that series did the fourth wall breaking with Kevin Spacey's character. And if they do something like that with She-Hulk, that could be pretty interesting. I would definitely be down for that. As an update, the project stars Tatiana Maslany as Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk. She's from Orphan Black and Perry Mason. Tim Roth's Emily Blonsky, aka Abomination, will be appearing, which means he doesn't die in Shang-Chi. I wonder if he gets his ass whooped, though, hopefully. Hopefully Wong whoops that ass. But Mark Ruffalo will also make an appearance as Bruce Banner, and Ginger Gonzaga will play Walter's BFF. And there will be 10 30-minute episodes, likely as a courtroom drama, although take that with a grain of salt. We haven't heard very much from Marvel, but nevertheless, the idea of breaking the fourth wall in this series, a la House of Cards, a la Deadpool, could be very interesting and could be very fun. You guys let me know your thoughts on She-Hulk and the rest of these topics. That's going to do it for Daily News Recap for July 6th. Thank you so much for joining me. Before I go, I'm going to plug a few videos. First, I will be working on the Tomorrow War review. I will have that up probably Thursday morning at the latest, but tonight would be amazing. I also have my F9 The Fast Saga review on the channel. If you had a chance to see the movie, check out my review. My facial expression says it all, so check it out. And also, if you're a fan of the DC animated films, I have my Batman The Long Halloween Part 1 review up. A fellow DC fan and myself, we deep dive into the film, and we also preview Batman The Long Halloween Part 2, which debuts later this month. I cannot wait. I absolutely loved Batman The Long Halloween Part 1. It's one of the best DC animated films. Check those videos out on the channel. If you're a new viewer, I would appreciate a thumbs up and also subscribe. I like to talk about the news 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, as long as there's enough topics and as long as there's enough topics that I find interesting that I can talk to you about and we can have a conversation. But thank you so much for your time. My name is Gio from Fandom United. You guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. Until tomorrow, take care.